Hey everyone, Squeenon13 here, and welcome to another Thoughts Behind the Wheel. I don't do these often enough anymore, I should. But, I never get the urge to do them unless I have something like I really want to talk about. And, I do today. Yay! Sorry, I had to clear my throat. So, on the forums, the Please Select Your Forums, or your Let's Play, I always forget the name, Please Select Your Let's Play forums, there is a debate section, and I kind of shoot myself in my foot with this section because by its very nature it's going to cause some problems. But I truly believe in the free flow of ideas and that our diversity makes us great and all that, wishy-washy, spongy-wungy stuff. I do believe in that. I do believe that people should be able to come together and debate whatever, anything and everything. And so it's a debate section on my forums. It's open for pretty much any topic ever. Problem is, of course, that causes problems. The problem is that causes problems. Wow. My vocabulary is stellar today. Because then people will bring up topics that they're passionate about and other people will be passionate about, and then it'll cause problems. And even topics where they're not. Even topics that aren't as important, that aren't like, birth control or really hot issues like that, people will still get worked up over. And it's been happening a lot, and it happened today, and, last night, technically. And I got a PM from a good friend who now may be leaving the forums over really what should be a non-issue. So I want to address this. And this is not just for people on the forums, this is for everyone in general, just some interesting stuff that you might think was interesting about debating itself. How to debate, what a debate is for, what it truly means, etc., etc., etc. As my chosen profession is a historian, I was once told by a professor that pretty much every single idea I ever write down on paper is going to be argued against. Someone is going to argue against it because someone somewhere is going to disagree with me. And that as annoying as that can be, you should relish it. Because the second people don't argue what opinions you lay down on the piece of paper is the second that your opinions are no longer worth arguing. And that's not good. So even the bad arguments, even the people who have really, really bad arguments are still helpful, are still useful. Because, let's say I said that in, 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. That's like my go-to thing. I think because it rhymes and I've known that since I was a kid. But let's say that. Let's say 1492 Columbus sailed the ocean blue. And then someone goes, how do you know Columbus sailed the ocean in 1492? And I'm like, really? Okay, well, because we have a charter from Christopher Columbus to sail the ocean in 1492. And it seems like a stupid argument, but it forced me to really look at my argument and find the proof that substantiates the argument. So that when someone who really knows what they're doing pokes a hole in my theory, like, well, actually, I've got a piece of paper here showing that he didn't sail for Spain in 1492. I have more fuel to the fire going, no, yeah, he did because I just pulled this up So anyway, even bad arguments serve a purpose. Even if they frustrate you, even if you think they are the dumbest thing in the world, they serve a purpose because they force you to reanalyze your own arguments and grow stronger in your own position. Now, the problem is that people get way too emotional when it comes to debating, even debating frivolous things. Like, for example, who is the worst military commander in history? I mean, this is not a topic that should be near and dear to anyone's heart. It's not like there's someone out there going, no, Hitler was good. You leave Hitler alone, It's not like there's anyone out there who is, like, related to Napoleon that's, like, defending their family honor or anything like that. It shouldn't be a big issue, but yet it still is. Because people hate being wrong, and people hate being told they're wrong. It's nature. I don't like throwing out there what I think is a great argument, and then having a bunch of people go, no, that's not good, and you're wrong here, and here. Whether they're right or wrong, whether I know that they're full of it or not, it's not fun. You want to throw it out there in a sense and have everyone go, oh, that is the most profound thing I've ever heard you say. That is amazing. I'm going to get this engraved on my chest. You know, that's what you want to hear because it makes you feel good. And even if you don't admit that's what you want, on a certain level, that's what we want. Even if you enjoy the debate, in the end, you like being right, you hate being wrong. That's human nature. It's a survival thing, obviously. You know, if you're right, you survive longer than if you're wrong. That's just the way it works. Ask a gazelle sometime. I was right about there being a lion there, or I was wrong about there being a lion there. So, and people will put an argument out there, and then someone else will question the argument, and then they'll question it, and then debates, personalities will get heated, and friction ensues. And it's sad. And I think a lot of it comes from the fact that a lot of people don't understand what a debate is for, what the purpose of a debate is. And because they don't know this, it frustrates them. Or at least they forget in the heat of the moment. And let me explain to you guys something. When you enter into a debate, an intelligent debate, you are not really trying to convince your opponent. Because when you convince your opponent, it is a rare and fabulous thing. And it's kind of like a unicorn. You don't see it very often. Let's take my whole argument with Smudboy over the Mass Effect, okay? When I started those arguments, I did not think that I was going to convince Smudboy, that I was going to be like, he shall see the light, because my arguments are astounding. If he had, that would have been amazing, but I certainly wouldn't have expected it. It would have blown me out of the water. Why? Because people are set in their own ideas. And 9 times out of 10, if they feel as passionately about something as you do, you are not going to convince them differently. Maybe once in a while, when you show them irrefutable proof and they have the humility enough to admit it, okay. But you should never, ever enter a debate with the intent of changing the point of view of your opposition. That should not be your goal, because that is like trying to paint a wall with your teeth while they're still in your mouth. It's not an easy thing to do, all right? What you're doing when you're entering a debate is 2 things. 1, self-reflection, and convincing the third party. That's what a debate is for. When I say self-reflection, what I mean by, even if it's just me and someone else sitting in a room, and there's no one else there except me and him, and we're debating, I am not there to prove him wrong. Because I'm probably not going to. And even if I do, he's not going to be very receptive to it. At least not right then and there. So what's the point of the debate? Why debate it? Why even try? Why? Unless you just like shouting at each other. Well, self-reflection. Anytime you enter a debate, anytime your ideas are questioned or put to the test, it strengthens your own view of your own beliefs. Whatever the belief is about, whether it be your religion or politics, or whether it be which is better, peanut butter and jelly or ham sandwiches. It still strengthens your beliefs, because every time your logic is put to the question by anyone anywhere, it forces you to verify your own logic. And by doing so, you either grow stronger in your own logic, or you realize that your logic has holes and have to reassess. So a debate is much more a self-reflection than it is about beating your opponent. And once you realize that, you get much less frustrated when your opponent doesn't agree with you. How many times have people been in this? I keep giving him the same argument over and over and over, and he just refuses to see it. Have you ever stopped to think that he's thinking the exact same thing? That he is giving you the same counter-argument over and over and over, and you are refusing to see it too. Does that mean that you're both stupid? No, not really. It just means that you both are set in your ways. However, you're getting frustrated because he is not thinking like you. You shouldn't expect him to. What you should do is don't get frustrated. Take the opportunity to examine your argument. Make sure that you are correct to your point of view in your argument, and walk away with that. If someone refuses to see the light, use it to examine your own argument. Once you've used it to examine your own argument, and you're sure that you're right, and you're sure that they're never going to budge, walk away. Don't get frustrated. Just say, look, I've said my piece. I'm not going to convince you. You're not going to convince me. I thank you for the debate because it's helped me understand myself better, or the argument better, and I appreciate it, but I'm going to walk away now. Boom, you're done. The problem is that people feel like they need to convince the other person. And until that other person is convinced, or until the other person stops questioning their view, then the debate is a failure. And that's not true. The debate is only a failure if nothing is gained on either side. If you don't learn anything on either side, then the debate is a failure. It is not, debate should not be judged upon the success of how much you shifted the opponent to your side of the argument. So, and if people understood that, I think there'd be a lot less frustration. And the other one I said is the third party. Think about a presidential debate, or any sort of political debate for prime minister, or oh my gosh, Inferno Canuck showed me how Canadians do their political debates. They're amazing. They have like 5 guys up there just yelling at each other. It's fantastic. Oh God, no! Oh no, my microphone. Okay. Anyway, what are they there to do? They're not there to convince their opponents. You really think that Obama was going to convince Mitt Romney of anything? No, of course not. So what are they there debating for? They're there debating for the third party, which is us, the viewers. Again, going with my Smudboy thing. Why did I do the Smudboy argument if I didn't think that I was going to convince Smudboy? Well, 2 reasons. One, to test my own logic on the arguments, to kind of hold up my own views of why I thought Mass Effect 2 was good to a spotlight and see how they stand out. And apparently they stand out pretty well. There are a lot of people who disagree with me, and that's fine, but there are very few people out there who managed to convince me that my logic was faulty. But the other one is for the third party audience. I made those videos mostly for the person who watched Smudboy's videos and had not seen anything else on the issue and said, oh, I guess he has a point. Huh. I made it for those people, to show them another view, another angle, another way of looking at it, so that they could judge for themselves which ones they believe was correct. Why? Because let's put it this way. Let's face it. To a lot of people, Smudboy is very charismatic and can make a good argument, even if the logic behind those arguments is faulty. If all you ever watched were his videos, and you didn't think about it too hard, and you just kind of rolled with it, you could be like, yeah, okay, I see where he's coming from. But if someone shows you an alternate point of view and goes, whoa, 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 hang on a second, before you start saying that, Wilson would never have given Shepard up because, he was going to be a rock star because he just figured out how to bring people back from the dead, let's think about that for a second. He works for a terrorist organization. They're not going to let him go tell everyone what he's done. So basically, it was to show that third person a different point of view, and that person who was sitting there going, okay, he's got some good ideas, and then show him another way and go, oh, you know what, you're right, I didn't think about that. Maybe this wasn't such a good argument. So the argument was not there for Smudboy. It was never there for Smudboy. It was there for the person watching. And you should always treat a debate, especially on forums, as such. Because you got to think, when you're on a forum, for every 5 people who are debating, there's 10 people reading it silently. And your debate should be for them. It shouldn't be focused on your opponent. You should not be trying to change your opponent's point of view. Okay, wait. You should be trying to refute their logic. And if that changes their point of view, fantastic. But changing their point of view should not be your goal. Does that make sense? Because what your audience, your target audience should be that third guy who's reading the argument and not really sure what side he falls on. Because that's the person you have a chance of influencing. That's the person you have a chance of reading it and going, you know what? This guy makes sense. And I like this. And this argument is really good. That's the one you're going to convince. It's not going to be the passionate opponent who's sitting there disbelieving everything you say. And if people could realize this, there would be so much less frustration. There really would. But people are stuck on the idea of, I must convince you because you must think like me, and you don't, and I don't understand why. And this leads to passions and arguments and all that. And I'm not suggesting that everyone feels that way, or at least consciously feels that way. There are a lot of people who don't necessarily feel that way, but their opponents do, and it goads them into a bitching match, basically. Well, let's say, for example, I give an argument, and someone goes, "No, that's not true," and I'll be like, "Well, yes, it is true, and here's the evidence." "No, I don't believe that evidence is true." Well, but it's my evidence is no. And then, so even though your goal may not be to convince them, they are frustrating you so badly by not seeing into your evidence that then you get upset too and go, "Well, F you," you know? So that kind of thing happens too. And again, you know, guys, don't let it get to you. That person is not your goal. It's not. It's the obstacle, not the destination. Does that make sense? If you could see your opponent as an obstacle and not as a destination, it would upset you much less. Because no matter how bad you think their argument is, no matter how frustrating they make you, they are simply that. They are an obstacle. They are not the person you have to convince. You don't have to worry about changing their point of view. All you have to do is make your case as well as you possibly can. And if they don't buy it, if they don't change their point of view, it was never going to happen in the first place, so don't worry about it. If you made your point correctly, then you were able to influence that third party, or at the very least, you were able to become stronger in your own argument. Success! Victory! Walk away! Go have a root beer. Good job. And it would keep things a lot more civil, because the truth is, a lot of the people who get into these shouting matches in my debate section are not bad people, nor do they hate each other, or at least didn't before this happened. They are just so passionate about the argument and so focused on trying to win their argument that they let their emotions take over on both sides, and then personal insults start flying. And so, I'm going to get into a couple of do's and don'ts when it comes to debating. And this is not just for my forum, but definitely will be enforced in my forum. But this is for just debating in general. Anywhere from academic debating to debating around a coffee table. And I am also going to get me a soda while I do that. So you're going to have to listen to me order a nice, tasty Diet Dr. Pepper. Why? Because I don't want to stop recording. Because my phone is over there on the other chair. And that requires me... like, you have to lift it up, and then there's like this little bar that you gotta slide to unlock it, and then there's like a pause button. Way too much effort. The McRib is here! Holy crap! There's a big... I don't know if there's angels out there, but they are sure listening to me. I'm sorry. So many people are like, "Oh my God, that's disgusting." I'm sorry. I am addicted to the McRib. It is delicious, and it is tasty, and it is full of barbecue goodness. And it's here. And I didn't know until now. No! I just ate. I want and I just ate. All right, I'm just going to get a tasty soda. Like I said I would. Oh my God. I'm so happy, though. It's finally Christmas time. Sorry, there must be something wrong with me. So where was I? Yes, a couple of do's and don'ts when it comes to debating. A couple of misconceptions as well. All right, first of all, I'm going to order. So, first of all, you're going to have to wait. Hello? Hello? I would like to order my tasty beverage.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. I can help you?
Yeah, can I have a large Diet Dr. Pepper light ice?
No problem. Anything else I can get for you?
No, a straw.
All right, it's going to be $1.08. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I thought at first he said no. Could I get a no? But I really want no. Okay. Okay, first of all, no cussing. No cussing of any kind. And I am really going to start enforcing this in the debate section. And the debate section only. And this sounds very strict and a little, over the top, but it is, and it isn't. And I'll explain why. And when I say no cussing, I mean no cuss words whatsoever. There are a lot of times when you cuss just to make an argument. You're not cussing at anyone. You're not saying F you to anyone. You're just saying like, F it, That kind of thing is not directed at anyone per se, but it doesn't matter. Why? Well, because, cuss words are very strong words. and people have very strong reactions to them, whether they're directed at them or not. And they tend to raise, oh, hang on a second.
Hi, one away.
Ready? There you go.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
You too. They tend to raise people's emotional levels just by seeing the word itself. For example, if I were to say, this argument makes no effing sense. Okay, well, I didn't personally cuss anyone out or anything, but I did say their argument made no effing sense, and that word is going to set them on edge and make them more upset than they would be normally, and it's going to make them more likely to retaliate with some sort of personal insult, and I gotta stop again. Thank you very much.
Come back.
I will. Oh, I will. I will come back. So, no. Just leave the cuss words out. I mean, in an intelligent debate, you don't need them. You don't, unless you are quoting someone word for word, some, Roman general that said, "Ve victis" or "fuck you," something like that, which I honestly don't think that the Roman generals did, but who knows? Unless you're doing something like that, just leave the cuss words out. There's no need for them. There's no place for them in an intellectual debate. This is a forum. This is not conversation where, the word, "oh no, microphone, no," where the word may pop out of your mouth before you think about it and you can't take it back. No, this is a forum. You have to spell it out, literally. You have to type out the word. And there's no way anyone, anywhere can convince me that they can type out a cuss word and not realize they did it. So you don't need it. Just don't use it. Look, like I said, I know it's a bit harsh because, you should be able to use adult language and not, go overboard. But why? Just don't. Keep everything civil. All right? Another one. And this has a lot to do with the problem I saw earlier today. If someone brings up evidence, like a primary source, and this has a lot to do with history more than politics, but I suppose it works for politics too. If someone brings up a primary source of information, like a letter from someone in Rome that said this, and you want to refute that, that's great. But bring up your own evidence. Refute it with another primary source, or at least a secondary source, or something more than just, no, I don't think so. Why? Because they brought evidence, and the onus is now on you to refute that evidence. You can try and use logic, but the problem with using logic, especially when it comes to history, is that your logic was not their logic. People thought and reasoned very differently in different periods of history, so what may seem logical to you may not have at all seemed logical to them. So it's always better to find evidence. And like I said, if someone brings up a solid source or a solid piece of evidence and you want to refute it, you should bring up your own evidence against it. And if you don't have the time or you don't want to, that's fine, but, then you lost. I mean, that's pretty much all there is to it. If you don't refute their evidence with evidence, then why should anyone believe it? And this was an example brought up, is that, well, my history teacher told me this once. And that's fine. And no one's saying your history teacher is wrong. But in the purpose of a debate, that is not admissible. I mean, think of it like a court trial. That's not admissible. If your history teacher told you that, that is cool. But it means that he got the evidence from somewhere. Find it. Go online. We have the most amazing tool in the world called the interwebs. Go find it. Go find why he said that. And then present that. Otherwise, no, it's not good enough. Now, and like I said, you don't have to. It's not like you're forced to, but you also shouldn't expect your point to be taken as seriously. If you want to be in the debate, take the time to do the legwork. I mean, seriously, that's pretty much what it comes down to. That's why, if I enter in, especially a historical debate, I will do my legwork. At the very least, there'll be times where it's like, look, there's a primary source. I know what it is, but I am way too exhausted to go get it now. I'll get it later, or something like that. But at least I will reference what it is, and I'll say that my facts may not be completely straight. But the point is, very simply, if you want to enter into the debate, be willing to do the legwork to prove your point. Fight evidence with evidence, okay? Now, another one, and this is a common misconception. Wikipedia is, and I repeat, is a valid source. Why? Most people seem to think it's not, but I'll explain why in a second. Because most Wikipedia pages have primary sources attached to them. Now, especially when it comes to history, most Wikipedia pages will put footnotes at the bottom of the page that will show where they got this information from. And that source will be a reputable source. And therefore, valid. Sometimes it won't, but, you know, from 9 times out of 10 it will. So, here's the misconception. A lot of people believe that since teachers don't let you use Wikipedia, it's not a reputable source. The problem is, teachers aren't wanting to let you use Wikipedia just because it could be wrong, or because anyone could say anything on Wikipedia, which isn't really true. Wikipedia is actually very, very good at policing their pages and making sure that anyone who edits anything on there has a good reason to do so. But it's because they don't want you to be lazy. Because Wikipedia should be seen as a gateway, not a destination. If you find something on Wikipedia, the teacher doesn't want you to say, oh, I found it on Wikipedia. They want you to go the extra mile to find the actual reputable source that Wikipedia got it from, instead of being lazy. That doesn't mean that Wikipedia is wrong. You can't use, like, for example, I can't use Wikipedia in a research paper. And I would never really quote Wikipedia in an argument myself. But I use Wikipedia all the time. I use Wikipedia all the time when it comes to, if it's just something I want to look up, I'm curious about. Or if it's a debate, and I was like, God, who is that general that did that thing? I'll find him on Wikipedia. And if it's going to be a debate, then I will see where Wikipedia got its primary source, and then I'll go to that primary source and verify it. So Wikipedia is valid to use, especially in a forum debate. If I quote Wikipedia, hey, you know what? If you don't like it, the onus is now on you to prove it wrong. Why? Because Wikipedia can count as a reputable source. Worst comes to worst, you could say, look, I know it came from Wikipedia. Do you know where Wikipedia got this from? Because I'm having trouble questioning it. But basically, I would consider it reputable enough that the onus would be on you to prove it wrong through other sources, or to show why Wikipedia is wrong. Don't put it in your research papers, but for a forum debate, Wikipedia is fine. What else was there? Trying to remember. No personal attacks. I guess that's the big one. No personal attacks. Okay. Everyone, you need to realize there is a big difference between attacking an argument and attacking a person. You can attack an argument as passionately as you want to, but do not ever attack the person behind the argument. Because you are no better than anyone else. Your opinion is no more valid than anyone else. You are no more smarter than anyone else. I don't care what you think. I don't care what you believe. You are no smarter than anyone else. Okay, that's not true, but for the purpose of debate, just believe it that way, okay? Now, if I say, dude, that argument sucks balls, that is not a personal attack. It's not very polite. Probably shouldn't say it, but it's not a personal attack. I'm not suggesting that you are dumb. I'm not suggesting that you are no good. I am simply suggesting that this argument you presented to me has more holes in it than Swiss cheese. And that's fine. Now, many people take this as a personal insult. Don't. They're not saying that your intelligence is bad. They're saying you made a mistake. And everyone makes mistakes. Just roll with it. If I say you're a snob, or you're a dick, or you're being a dick, or anything with you in it, you probably shouldn't say. You should never attack the person. And I had this the other day or a while ago, where some people were saying, well, I was saying that his arguments were snobbish and all that stuff. That is a very, very gray borderline, okay? You can say that someone's argument is bad. You can say that someone's argument doesn't make sense. But the second you start getting into your argument is elitist or snobbish or whatnot, you're starting to make comments upon their personality, because that argument comes from a personality type, not from a lack of logic. And it's better to stay away from those because people will always take those as personal insults. Whether they are or not, they will be taken as such, and they really can't be blamed for it. If I tell you, man, that argument's snobbish, you are going to take that as you're calling me a snob. Anyone's going to take that as you calling me a snob. It is different than, dude, your argument sucks balls. Seriously, because it is different, and I hope everyone can see the difference here. One is assigning a personality to an argument. The other is pointing out the lack of logic in an argument. And those are two different things completely. So, stay away from any sort of personality traits. Don't assign any sort of personality, unless it's a positive one, to the person you are debating. Why? Exactly. Why? Why do it? Don't. It's just going to raise frustrations. If you're upset, if you're typing a message and you realize that you're about to insult this guy or insult his intelligence or his basis or whatever, walk away, cool down, come back later. There is no reason to insult a person for their arguments. Okay? And see, and this is the biggest thing I get all the time, that so many people say that I insulted Smudboy left and right. I insulted Smudboy left and right with my pictures. My pictures talking about how silly an argument was or how I didn't use any logic. That's not a personal insult at all. Never once did I call Smudboy an idiot or less intelligent than me or anything of the sort. The worst I accused him of was using intellectual language without really explaining it. I think that's what the worst I accused him of was not using arguments correctly, in the sense that he would use a lot of vocabulary and just expect you to know it without really explaining it to you. Or, and this one I accused him of too, he would purposely mislead people. But then again, that is not a personal insult. That is, again, a reflection upon the arguments themselves. And the argument itself was misleading. Well, no, you know what? I will be fair. I did say that a lot of times, he believed that his way was the only way. But again, that's not really, I don't see that as a personal insult. I guess someone could. But it wasn't so much as to insult him, but as to go, dude, really? I mean, that's really your way or the highway? Honestly? Wow. But no, all of my pictures, all of my jokes, all of my everything on those videos were attacking his arguments and not the person. And in fact, I said many times that I believed, and I still do, that he was a very intelligent person who knows how to deconstruct a story. Now, the conclusions he gets from his deconstruction may be false, in my opinion, but he knows how a story is put together and the elements, and he knows how to make a decent argument, and he can even be funny on occasion. The point is, there is a very fine line, and you have to be able to know what that line is, or just don't come to the debate forum. Seriously, don't, because you're just going to cause problems. You can attack someone's argument, but never call them names. Never assign personalities to their arguments. And for the love of sheep everywhere, do not start cussing someone out. Okay? If you are that upset, come back later. Don't use cuss words whatsoever. Don't use insults whatsoever, unless you are insulting someone who died 200 years ago. That's fine. If you're insulting a politician, don't. Just, I mean, I'm not going to get upset if you say this politician's an idiot. That's fine, I guess. But here's the problem with that, is that if you sit there and go, he's an idiot, well, anyone who believes what that guy believes is going to feel like an idiot too. Now, I'm not trying to censor people. I'm not trying to say you shouldn't do this. I'm trying to say that it's not needed. It's not necessary. It's childish. Instead of saying this politician's an idiot, just sit there and go, I disagree with him for this, this, and this reason. Okay? Because that's what an intellectual debate should be about. So, I have to go to work. I've talked your ears off enough. Anyone who's interested in the debate section who's never been there, you can go check it out on the please select your Let's Play. It's in the top section, I think, the general discussion and all that. And it's got debate topics from everything from who's the worst military leader in history to like the Star Wars prequels to all sorts of things. And I welcome people to go because I love debates. And I think debates are one of the greatest aspects of humanity because it allows us to be different and share our beliefs and make ourselves better. But do it correctly. please. I see way too much anger from everyone, and that's not what I want these to be. And sooner or later, if this keeps going, I will shut it down. I will close the debate section off completely. Because I want people to share ideas and to exchange ideas, but I don't want people getting pissed at each other over it. And like I said, I potentially have lost a friend because someone is like threatening to like quit the community because this debate thread, and that's not cool. That's not cool at all. I don't think I'd lose a friend, but it would definitely be much harder to contact them. So, what was I going to say? I was going to say something important. I don't remember what. Oh, yes, moderators. I was going to say moderators. Everyone who's on my forums and moderating my forums, you guys actually do a fantastic job. You do, and I want to thank you guys for it. I do want to point out, though, just as a preventative cause, I can't think of any real times this has happened, per se. Maybe once or twice. But when we are moderating the forums, especially like the debate section, we need to be absolutely sure not to take sides when it comes to moderating. Now, you can take sides in a debate. That's perfectly fine. But if someone's getting out of line and you need to lay down the law, so to speak, make sure you read every single post involved before you do it. And make sure you get a clear idea of what's really going on. Because the worst thing in the world would be to shun someone for doing something bad when someone on the other side had also done something bad and you missed it because you just read one or two posts. I know it's hard. I think I've actually done it myself too. I'm sure I have at some point. But when we're laying down moderation like that, we need to make sure we read everything involved and get a clear idea before we start laying down rules and stuff like that. Like I said, you guys are really good about it. I have no qualms whatsoever. I wouldn't have made you guys administrators if I didn't think you couldn't handle it. But, a message to you guys, and really a message to everyone else too, so that you guys understand that if a moderator tells you something, just do it. Oh, gosh. Oh, yes. If a moderator tells you to knock it off, if a moderator tells you stop it, and this goes for chat rooms, debates, forums, whatever. If a moderator tells you knock it off, just knock it off. If you have a problem with it, send me a PM about it later. Do not make a public scene about it. Do not sit there and go, why are you telling this? Don't. Just don't. Okay? They're moderators for a reason. I trust their judgment. It doesn't mean they're infallible. It doesn't mean they don't make mistakes. But don't call it out in public because you are not helping anything. By you trying to argue against the moderator's authority, you are degrading their ability to do what they're designed to do, which is keep everything civil and peaceful. If everyone's sitting there questioning what moderators do or don't do, then moderators no longer have any power. So I will tell you right now, if you publicly try to... you can do it civilly. I mean, I don't see any problem with going... Okay, I know you did this. I just want to know why. Like, I will stop doing whatever you told me to stop, but what did I do wrong exactly? Something like that, that's fine. That's civil. That's asking for an explanation. But if you go, that's not fair, that's BS, man, you can... I'm sorry. I don't care if you're right or wrong. I will take my administrator's sides if you do it publicly. Why? Simple reasoning. You may have been right. They may have made a mistake, but that's beside the point. Appearances are very, very important, and I stand behind my administrators. So don't even try. If you have a problem with them, send me a PM, and then we can deal with it fairly behind the scenes where everyone's not airing it out like dirty laundry. Okay? All right, everyone? Okay. Okay. I'm going to go. And God, McRib is back. I'm so happy. All right, everyone. Take care. Bye-bye.